Hey, this is Dan here at Studio Blue. This is Pilates All Levels. Only props that are optional are a mini ball. You could always use a pillow or something like that if you don't have a ball at home. As always, if something doesn't feel good in your body, please don't push through any kind of bad pain, especially neck, lower back, or joint. So knees, elbows, wrists, anything like that. All that said, we're going to start on hands and knees today and just mobilize the spine. Make sure your prop, if you're using one, is pretty close by. We'll use it in a moment. And setting up, start with hands under shoulders, knees under hips, spread the fingers a good amount, and just start to round the spine up. So just start to move your bones, allow your joints to open up. Curl the tailbone, try to relax your glutes. Hold this position for a moment. And really press into the hands and let your shoulder blades widen, but try to soften them out of your ears. Keep your belly lifting a bit. And then as you inhale, start to release the tailbone. So arcing through low back, middle back, upper back especially. Chest starts to pull down, shoulders drop down, eyes come forward. And again, hold this position for a moment. So even though the abdominals are on a little bit of length, keep them drawing in actively. And imagine your heart could drop towards the floor. So we're trying to find a little bit more extension in the upper spine. And then starting with the tailbone again, curl the tail, round through low back, middle back, upper back. Eventually let your chin drop last. And again, on a breath, any kind of breath you want, release the tailbone, arc through the pelvis. And again, low, middle, upper, shoulders drop down, eyes come forward. And then try a couple with the head starting the motion. So drop the chin, you can exhale, widen through the upper back, middle back, lower back. Curl the tail, relax the glutes. And again, start with the head. This one usually feels kind of awkward at first. So eyes go forward, shoulders drop, heart drops. Middle back, lower back, tailbone. Yep, there's one more like that. So starting with the head, trying to isolate one piece of the spine at a time. And then find the place in the middle. We'll call it tabletop or just flat back. Waistline still drawing in, shoulder blades still wide. Reach the right leg out, lift it, just hover off the ground and opening up through the front of the hip and starting to activate through the back of the glutes. Lower that leg down and in. And without too much change in the hips, left leg reaches out, stomach still in as that leg lifts up. And then lower down and in. So just keep alternating from side to side. It's a nice way just to get the hips to open up. Start to wake up the back of the glutes. Make sure the arms, they're straight, but they're not locked. You feel your biceps working with your triceps. Just take about one more each side. Waistline staying in. Last one to the left whenever you get there. Good. And then feet together, knees open. Come back into child's pose or resting pose, pressing the hips back to the heels, and just notice how this feels at the beginning of the hour. Let the head be heavy. You can always take your hands under the forehead if you want a little bit more neck support. And take a couple deep breaths. And this doesn't have to be a Pilates breath just yet. You might even try more of a yoga breath. So as you inhale, really breathing into your stomach, holding that breath for just a moment. So really filling yourself up, holding it, and then slowly letting that breath out, either through the mouth or through the nose. And just do one more like that. Big inhale into the stomach, allow the hips to relax, allow the spine to relax. And then as you exhale, just exhale softly, let your bones get a little bit heavier. Nice. And then roll yourself on up. Make your way onto your back and have your prop close by. And then clasp your hands completely together. Take them behind your head. Pelvis is neutral. Elbows are up in your peripheral vision. And then drop the chin down slightly. And as you exhale, curl the head and the chest off the ground. So just about to the tips of the shoulder blades. And then as you inhale, lower the chest and the head back down. And again, nodding the chin, curl up. Ribs sliding down, low waistline in, pelvis still neutral. Inhale, taking it down. So just keep moving here at your own time and your own pace. And this chest lift, even if I don't cue you to come back to it, You can always come back to this movement as we progress and advance our ab work. Shoulder blades still a bit wide. Right, elbows in your peripheral vision. I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign. I'm already shaking. So it's Monday here, right? Depending on when you watch this in the future. But after the weekend, I always feel like things are a little tighter, or maybe a little bit more sore in different places. If you're out and about, hiking, walking, running, whatever it may be, it'll definitely affect your workout on a Monday morning. So the next time that you lift the chest, hold at the top. Let your head get pretty heavy into your hands, but see if you can stay lifted off your shoulder blades. So there's really this sense of dropping down to the breastbone. And then as you exhale, very lightly curl the tail and let your low back imprint, not from using your butt or your back, but from using your lower abs. And then as you inhale, let your pelvis kind of unravel towards neutral. And again, exhale, just curl the tail. You want to feel like your lower abs are kind of meeting your middle and your upper abs. And then as you inhale, let that unravel towards neutral. And just go a couple more like that. So finding some length and starting to wake up those lower abs. Last one. And let the pelvis open to neutral. Lower the head and the chest down. Imprint the lower spine and bring one leg at a time up, tabletop to advance. As you exhale, curl the head and the chest up. Inhale, grab the back of your thighs with your hands. Now your elbows are going to stay pretty wide. Just kind of wiggle yourself up off your shoulder blades. So if your upper back is feeling tight at all, try to breathe into it. And as you exhale, slowly bring your hands back around to the head. Try to stay lifted. On your next breath out, tap the right heel towards the floor, maintaining that imprint. Inhale to lift up, and then exhale, left heel taps towards the floor. So you can stay here. Your arms can always go forward, right? If you find that you can't quite stay up off your shoulders, the reaching of the arms can help. And you can also always grab onto the back of the thighs if you need just a little bit of extra support on this today. But really all the abs are working, upper, middle, lower, obliques. One more each side. Really try to connect your breath with your movement. Once you finish your left side, lower the head and the chest. Take your arms out to a T with your palms facing up and try to zip or glue the knees together, right? If you want a little bit more support, you can always take a prop or your ball in between the knees, right? Otherwise, knees together. Inhale, legs are going to start to drift to the left, just to about 45 degrees. So those knees are still together. My right shoulder is still heavy. And then as I exhale, I'm bringing the rib cage and then the pelvis and then the legs back through center. Inhale, legs start to rotate to the right, about a 45-degree angle or so. And then waistline, pelvis line, and then legs come back. And again, inhaling over. Right? Keep some weight through the back of the shoulder blades. Exhaling back, just at your own time, your own pace. But as you cross, you want to feel a bit of a stretch to the front of your chest and shoulder, and then you want to start to feel your obliques turning on to bring you back. One more each side. Try to keep those knees glued together so the movement is coming from the pelvis and the spine. Last one. Once you finish your last side, grab the back of your thighs, lift the head and the chest, and then very gently push your legs a little bit into your hands so you feel the back of the hamstrings kicking in. Elbows are wide. Take an inhale. Exhale slowly. Slower you go, the harder it is. Hands come back around to the head. All right, take an inhale. Exhale, small twist up and over to the right. So I'm keeping an eye on that right knee. Inhale back to center. Look at that left knee. Exhale, slow twist towards it. Inhale back to center. Exhale, small twist. Now this can also be done with the feet on the ground. If you want a little bit more support. If you want to add on, you can twist to one side, tap the opposite heel towards the floor. Inhale up, and then twist and tap. So just all ways to add on. One more to the left. And then come back to center, hug the knees into the body. And if you have a prop, just let that prop come off to the side for now. And keeping the tailbone heavy, right? The lower spine is going to imprint. And I want you to see how far can your knees come towards your chest before your tailbone wants to lift, right? Before the lower back wants to overly round. So just feel where that is. Lift the head and the chest up and just hold. So my feet are pretty relaxed. I'm holding onto my shins. I'm pulling my knees towards me. Now, as I exhale, I'm just going to reach my arms to the sky and then my legs to the sky. Inhale, bend the knees, right? Give them a little pull into your body. And again, exhale, waistline draws in, limbs reach to the sky. Now, adding on, you can start to reach the limbs a little further away from the midline of the body. Inhaling back. Big exhale to reach. Now, this can also be done with the head on the ground or with a ball or a pillow behind your head, right? If you just want a little bit more support. The key to this one, keep breathing. So use that exhale breath to reach. So your spine, your powerhouse, everything has a little bit more support. Last one. The next time you come back, lower the head if it was lifted. Send the left leg down to the ground. Keep hugging that right leg in towards your body. And same thing as this leg hugs in, think of the right hip almost reaching down. So we're really folding and finding that mobility in the joint. Open the right arm as you inhale, take that leg across the body. Just a gentle twist. Keep a bit of weight in the right shoulder. You're not forcing anything, but just feel some weight there. And try to breathe into all that space in between the rib cage and the pelvis. And as you exhale, slowly come back to center. Right leg to the ground. Left leg hugs in towards you. And try to soften the front of the hip crease. And as you inhale, pull that leg over. Left arm opens out to the side. And settle the shoulder out of the ear. Breathe into that sideline. You exhale, use your waistline, come back to center. And then set yourself up so knees are bent, feet are flat, about inner hip distance apart, arms relaxed by your side. Exhale, curl the tailbone and slowly start to articulate up to the sky. So the hips will start to lift. There's a sense of the knees tractioning forward and a sense of the heels pulling towards your shoulders. Keep some weight in the arms, the back of the shoulders, even the back of the shoulder blades. And then try to find that height to where knees, hips, shoulders, everything's one nice long line. On your next breath out, slowly start to take it down. Take as many breaths as you need to really articulate through your spine. So pretty similar to the cat stretch and the cow that we did in the beginning. Just finding that articulation. And again, curl the tail, roll up slowly. Keep some weight in your heels, first balls of the feet, last balls of the feet. Yep. Keep the front of the ribs fairly soft at the top so your abs are still working. And then again, just slowly take it down. Just one more like this. Yeah. Eva, feet forward just a teeny. Yeah, just a touch. See if you feel more glutes there. Yeah. So the next time that you come up to the top of your bridge, just hold at the top, right? So again, keep some weight into the feet, weight into the arms. Feel the whole back line of the body. It's more than just the glutes. The hamstrings are on, the back extensors are on. Take your hands onto your hips, right? Make sure that they're level. And then put some weight in your left foot, your left leg. And you can lift your right heel or the whole right leg up to tabletop. And if that whole leg is lifting, you want to feel your load, right? Has gone into that left leg. Left glutes are on. Right leg comes down. Put some weight into that right foot. And then left leg floats up. Minimal movement to the hips and to the ribs. Inhale to lower. Exhale, root down, and then lift. Yeah. So keep going with this, just alternating from side to side. And your arms can come back down to the ground at any point, or if you want a little bit more support or feedback, just keep your hands at your hips. Right? Now, if you're feeling knee tension building on this, your foot might be too close to you. If you feel over, or you just feel your hamstrings or your lower back, your foot might be too far away from you. Right, so find that ideal placement, check that the waistline's still in. Right, for Julia, feel the ribs soften just a little bit and the tail curl under, yes. And then finish off with your left leg lifting and lowering, and then feel both feet are pretty heavy to the ground. And on your next breath, just roll down about halfway. And once you come down halfway, re-curl the tailbone under. See if you can find some more length for your middle and your lower back. And then come down just 1 or 2 vertebrae, and then same thing, curl the tail, breathe into the middle and lower back, and then bring it down 1 or 2 more vertebrae. And just continue that all the way down until the pelvis is neutral. And again, curl, waistline starts the action. As the hips start to lift, the glutes start to kick in. We roll back up. Now, if you want to add on to this, just make sure your hips are level, the ribs are fairly heavy. Weights in the left leg. The right leg can float tabletop. And we're going to stay here with this right leg lifted. So a couple options. As you inhale, you can tap the right heel down. And then as you exhale, we lift. Stay on that same leg. And again, inhale to tap. Yeah, it might touch the floor, might not. Exhale to lift. Or if you want to add on a little bit further, that right leg straightens, we point the foot. We exhale, lengthen and lower about knee height. We flex the foot and lift. So it's the same movement essentially. We're moving from this right hip. Nothing else gets to move. Everything else is stabilizing. Yeah, maybe the arms come down by your side for a little bit more support. Okay, keep breathing. Exhale on the way down on this to give your lower back some support. Inhale on the way up. Finding that stretch in the back of the hamstrings into the back of the calf. Last 2. And are we feeling that standing leg yet? Oh yeah. Hold at the top, bend the knee, set the foot down. So both feet are heavy to the floor. Take a breath, and as you exhale, maybe lift just a little higher, not from overarching the back, but from opening the front of the hips. So find those glutes. Opposite leg floats up. As you inhale, you can start with a couple marches, inhaling to tap, exhaling to lift. Yep, inhaling to tap, exhaling to lift. And then maybe straightening the leg, we'll switch the breath to exhaling down with the pointed foot. Flex the foot, toe ball arch heel, inhale up. Exhaling down, inhaling up. Now, classically, you do this pretty fast, but for today, let's do it pretty slow and mindful. Enjoying that stretch on the way down in the front of the hip and the way up in the back of the thigh. Collarbone still open. Relax the jaw, relax the neck. Last 2. Last 1. Holding at the top, bend that leg, set the foot down. Both feet heavy, hips lift a little higher. Take the arms to the sky. And as you exhale, start to roll down and reach your arms over your head, rolling through every piece of your spine, every piece of your back. Pelvis opens to neutral, legs reach out. Now, if you know you like a pad underneath your back for roll-ups or weights in your hand, you can always grab it. If you're not sure, we'll find out here soon. Thighs are together, toes are pointed. We'll inhale, lift the arms, head and chest, and pause. And then as you exhale, slowly start to roll up. Yeah, stretch forward. So shoulders somewhere about over the hips. Right, let the shoulders roll back, keep the waistline in, and then curl the tail as you exhale and just slowly take it down. Yep. Your arms will stay, fairly parallel to the ground. Eventually, arms reach overhead. Ribs still heavy. Inhale, arms, head, chest. Exhale to roll it up. Nice. Yep, stretching forward, shoulders easy. And again, curling and rolling back. Yeah, so maybe one more like this. Front of the hips opening, back of the thighs active. Rolling up. Nice. Stretching forward. And then this next one, we're going to roll down just about a quarter of the way. Right? So pausing at that quarter way, the lower back is rounded. Ribs are pretty heavy, shoulders just kind of ease out of the ears. And then as you exhale, Bring the right hand to the back of the head. Very lightly push your head into your hand. And then inhale the arm forward. And then exhale, left arm to the back of the head. Waistline's in. Inhale forward. Does everyone feel this? Okay. So you want to feel, right, it's the whole front of the waistline, including the obliques. So side of the ribs. Now you can always come down a little lower. You can always come up a little higher, right? Especially if it starts to go into places that are not the target. So lower back or the front of the hips. And with that left arm, take an inhale. Exhale, curl, roll down one vertebra. Take another breath. Ease into the shoulders, curl, roll down one more vertebra. Take a breath. And then roll all the way down. Arms reach overhead. Again, take a breath into the back of the ribs. Ribs are still heavy. And then arms lift, head and chest lift. Exhale, slowly roll up. Yep, nice. And then stretch forward. Good. Let your head be heavy. Yeah, you can take a little bit of a stretch here, pointing the feet or flexing the feet, whatever feels good. And just give the knees a little bit of a bend. Let the head be heavy. And then restack, sit tall. And the arms are going to come back. Fingers can point towards your feet, or they can point out to the side. Now, if you're on a really squishy mat like we are at the studio, if you generally have wrist tension, you might walk back to the wooden floor for a little bit more support. Or again, if you generally have a little wrist tension, fingers pointing out to the side might just feel kind of nice, right? I'll start fingers towards my feet, roll the shoulders back. And the first part of this, just push into your arms and lift your heart. And see if you can start to feel stretch in the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders, and some work in the back of the shoulder blades. Second part, straighten the arms. The hips are going to lift a little bit, but start to feel, right? The back of the arms are on, shoulders are open. And the third part, maybe lift the hips. Inhale, lower the hips. You might have to reset your arms after that first one. And then again, set shoulders, set waistline, press into the feet, lift the hips. Eyes will start to come up to the sky and then slowly lower. So the whole back side of the body is working here. And the front side of the body is actively opening. Now this can also be done with bent legs rather than straight legs. It'll take a little bit of load off of the knees, off of the lower back, and off of the hips. Yeah. Again, just different options you can play around with. Yep. The next time that you come down, lengthen the legs if they were bent. Sit up nice and tall, and then scoot towards the front edge of your mat and bend your legs for me. Feet will come down to the ground. Knees will open slightly, and we're going to grab the front of our shins. Now, the closer you go towards your ankles, the harder this is going to be, right? So you're going to start to walk your feet towards you. Your heels will naturally lift. Round through your spine. Drop your chin a little bit. And first part, just see if you can balance and breathe. Now, if you're on a yoga mat on a tile floor at home, you might not do this next exercise. Might not feel the best on the spine. If you're on a squishy surface, as you inhale, think of starting the motion from your pelvis. We rock back, tips of the shoulder blades. Exhale, roll up and find your balance point. Again, inhale, take it back. Find a moment of balance. Exhale, rise up. So keep going. Avoid at the top, lifting your chest, arcing your back. And I want you to think of very gently pushing your hands into pushing your shins into your hands the whole time, even as you go back. So that space between heels and butt and knees and chest won't change. Now, if you want to add on, you can lengthen the legs. All right, they open, feet are pointed, spine is nice and long, and the legs will open, say, about shoulder distance. The spine will lengthen on this one. So we start with more of a flat back. We inhale, curl the tail, roll back. Exhale, roll up. Right, now this one's supposed to make you smile. So as you inhale, take it back. Try to keep the arms and legs straight. Exhale, roll up, re-lengthen your spine at the top. So open leg rocker. Inhale back. Exhale, bring it up, hold at the top. Thighs together, bring your hands to the back of the thighs, right below the knees. Lift your heart slightly, soften your shoulders. Keep the waistline drawing in. And then as you exhale, maybe, without losing the height of your legs, arms go forward. So it's deep hip, deep ab, deep thigh. All of it's working for 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, 2, on 1, cross the legs, come forward onto your hands and knees. Nicely done. Now, same thing here. If you're on a pretty squishy mat, you might take your hands onto the wooden floor in front of you for a little bit more wrist support. Spread the fingers, but relax the thumbs. Set your shoulders. So really press down into the ground and feel your upper back widen. Waistline in, legs are going to walk back one at a time into front support or plank, right? Whatever we're calling it. Inner elbows slightly forward, shoulders melting down. Now find the centers of your ankles. So you're not hanging out on your tippy toes. You're not all the way pushed back into your Achilles tendon. You're just somewhere in the middle. Find weight through the first balls of your feet. So the feet aren't rolled out. You might have to look at them just to make sure. And keep the waistline lifting up and in. Now this can always be done on the hands. This can always be done with the knees on the ground. Take one more full breath. And then you can take child's pose or down dog. I'm going to take child's pose today. Knees can be together or apart. Wherever you're at, take a full breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And then as you exhale, rise back up to your plank. Again, that can be forearm plank, full plank, knees down plank. So just come back, setting the shoulders, set your waistline. Make sure the arms, right, they're straight but not locked. I want you to feel your biceps working with your triceps. Yep. Keep your waistline lifting, and there's going to be this sense of your tail dropping down a bit and a sense of your heart pulling a little forward. Good. And then for Ira, lift the hips just a little bit more. Yes, good. Feel your thigh muscles, feel your quads are on. Really push down into your feet. Feel the back of your glutes. And then widen that upper back, Heather. Yes, press up a little higher. There it is, /3, 2, rest, down dog or child's pose, your choice. Wherever you're at, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then slowly make your way onto your side. What side? Any side you want. Just make sure you're facing me. And have your prop, if you're using a ball, have it close by. All right, we'll come back to planks a little bit later. But knees bent forward, heels are in line with the back of our sit bones. Now you can use your prop as a pillow. You can have your arm long. Just gonna adjust the mic real quick. Or you can have your arm bent. All right, so whatever feels good. But your shoulders are stacked, your hips are stacked. Top hand onto that top hip. Let your hip hike up for a moment and then gently reach it down. And I don't necessarily have to see, right, any space under your lower ribs, but I want you to feel like those lower ribs are lifting a bit. Now the top knee is going to lift up and open. Hold there, flex that top foot, right? And push your top heel down while you try to lift your knee up. And if you feel back into the glutes, you want to feel some tone there. As you inhale, lower that knee down. Keep the hips stacked. They're not going to move. Exhale, top knee lifts up and open. And again, inhale to take it down. Now think of the waistline still staying in a little bit, right? And if your posture, if you tend to be someone that rounds a little bit in the upper back, I want you to think of almost lifting your chest slightly or flattening your back. And if you tend to be someone, right, like me, that tends to be a little more arched or extended, I have to really think of softening my ribs and to find my neutral. And if we can find neutral, right, the best position in your spine, it's going to work your muscles with the most ease, with the most effect, meaning we don't have to do like 1,000 of these, right? So really focused, find the back of the glutes. Hips are stacked. Check the neck and shoulders that they're pretty relaxed. Last one like this. And then rest. So the bottom leg will be pretty heavy to the ground. This top leg is going to lift parallel to the floor. Now the knee stays 90 degrees. I'm gonna reach the leg back just a couple inches so the front of the hip opens a bit. Make sure the knee doesn't drop down. And as you exhale, you're gonna rotate your thigh in. So essentially that foot is gonna lift to the sky. We've created internal rotation. And then as you inhale, come back to center. So you're gonna exhale, rotate in, make sure the knee doesn't dive downward, right? It stays that hip height. Inhale back to center. And you wanna feel a different part of the side of your glutes. This is gonna dive a little deeper into your internal rotators. Yeah, everybody feeling this? Okay. All right, so this generally might feel a little weird if you haven't done this one before. Sometimes it gets a little crampy. If it does, just come down, rest, shake it out. And you can always come back into it. Make sure as the leg rotates in, the hip isn't hiking up, but you're really finding that motion in the joint. Last one. Exhale, rotate. And then bring everything down. Nicely done. You can rub out the side of the hips a bit. And then the legs are going to go long, so completely in line with the rest of your body. Now, if you want to challenge your balance, your bottom arm rather is long as well with your palm up. Your top arm can be in front of your body for support, or more of a challenge, your arm can lift to the sky. Now your bottom foot is going to flex just slightly, and you're going to push the outer sole edge of your foot down into the ground. And as you exhale, we're going to point the top leg and just lift up a couple inches higher than your hip. Flex the foot, inhale to draw down, and then point, exhale, lift. And again, this can be done hand in front, lifting, flexing, lowering, or arm to the sky. As this leg lifts, you want to feel the side of the glute starting to kick in, right? This might be in a similar place that you're feeling on your internal rotation. So side of the hip. Check that your waistline's still in. So if you think of your plank, right, front of the core, back of the core, side of the core, all of it's working together to stabilize you. One more like this. We exhale, lift, we hold. Now we're gonna flex the foot. We'll rotate the leg slightly out and tap your heel forward of your body. Doesn't matter how far forward, but try to make contact with the floor. As you inhale, lift, point the foot, rotate in and tap your big toe behind you. Again, try to make contact. Now this can be done still, right, as a balance challenge where you really, right, if your arm is lifted, as your leg goes forward and back, you're really challenging your balance and your core muscles. Back extensors, front of the abdominal, side of the waist, and hip stabilizers. Again, checking that as your leg goes forward and back, you're not overextending the back, you're not over rounding the back, you're just maintaining neutral. Good. One more each direction. Good. We'll end to the back. And we'll let that leg drop down. Bend both knees. Sit yourself up. Both of your feet are flexed in a mer person, merman, merwoman position. So whatever arm you were laying on, that's the arm that's going to lift, right? So my feet are flexed. Arm I was laying on, that arm lifts to the sky. Shoulders ease out of the ears. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, just take a small side bend. Feeling that whole underside that we were laying on to open up. Now take that top arm, roll it slightly forward. So right, the shadow of your arm is cast over your face and it should help ease any tension in the neck and shoulder. And then take that same arm back to the ground, opposite arm follows. So your hands now are squared off, right? And just depending on how you're laying, right, might be the top of your mat, might be the side of your mat. But you want to feel a bit of a rotational stretch. So the shoulders are going to start to drop. Yep. And then we're rounding the spine. And then for Ira, walk your arms to the right for me. Yeah, all the way to the right. So you're facing that back stairwell. Yeah, there you go. So you should feel more stretch in kind of your middle and upper back. Yeah. Yep. Now you might come all the way down onto your forearms. Yeah. So again, just taking a nice stretch. All that space in between the pelvis and the ribs. You can walk up onto your hands and take a little bit of extension with rotation. So shoulders are easing back, breastbone's lifting, waistline's lifting. This is similar to something we can do on the reformer. Yeah. Yeah. You can move around a little bit in it. Again, there's no necessarily right or wrong in this as long as it feels pretty good. And then just walk yourself up and switch sides. Nicely done. All right. So opposite side facing the same direction. Yeah. Bottom arm can be long or bent, however you had it set up before. Knees forward, heels in line with the back of the sit bones. Top hip is going to hike up to start, and then it's going to drop down. So find some length in the top waist, a little bit of a lift through the bottom waist. Top knee lifts, hold at the top, flex the foot, and push your heel down while your thigh rotates up. Make sure the pelvis isn't rolling back. Everything stays stacked. Inhale, take that knee down. And then as you exhale, so moving from that hip joint, we lift. So find the back of the glutes. Inhale to lower. Yep. And exhale to lift. Good. Inhale to lower. Nice. And then just check in with your effort. So if your glutes tend to be on the tighter side or say they're really sore, you might not have to think of using as much effort to turn these guys on. If you're not sure if they're on or can't quite feel the glutes, you can fan your fingers back and reach into the center of your glutes and really feel that glute line toning to help lift this thigh and turn it out. And sometimes, right, that contact of heel pushing down as you lift can get a little bit deeper into the back. Last two. And last one. Nice. Lower down. Top thigh, knee, and foot lift. The knee stays 90 degrees. And we're going to take that leg and reach it back just slightly in space. So the hip opens a little bit. As you exhale, rotate your thigh in. So essentially the foot's going to go to the sky. And then as you inhale, come back to center. Right? Exhale, rotate in, right? Feeling now a little bit more into the side of the glute line. Inhale back to center. Waistline, right? Still connected. Yep. Nice. Yeah. And then Julia, drop the knee just a little bit. Yeah. And then rotate. Yeah, there you go. And back. Yep. And rotate. Nice. Couple more. And depending on your body, right, we all have very different ranges, especially in the hips. So this might look very different than me or your neighbor. Last one. And lower everything down. Just kind of rub out the side of the hip and then take your legs long. So bottom arm can be long, palm facing up or down. Legs are in line with the rest of the body. And then your bottom foot is going to flex a little and the outer edge of your foot is going to push downward. Top arm in front or to the sky. As you exhale, we'll point the top foot, we'll lift up just a little bit higher than the hip. Find the side of the glutes and then flex the foot and inhale to lower. All right, check waistlines in, we point, exhale, lift. Flex, toe ball arch heel, inhale, lower. Now, if you had your arm up before, right, we're on a different side. So like for me, this side feels a lot shakier. I have to really focus on my core to keep me balanced. So you might notice from side to side, it's going to feel a little different. And it's okay if you need your hand down on one side and maybe you didn't have it down on the other. A-okay. Good. Adding on, we'll lift up, pause, flex your foot, inhale, drop your heel in front of your body, try to touch the floor. Exhale, lift, point, drop your big toe behind your body. So you're rotating in. Inhale, lift, flex, drop in front. Lift, point, big toe behind. And again, this is where it gets interesting. If you had an arm up for balance, you'll really feel the difference from side to side. Waistline still in throughout. Hips are still stacked throughout. Good. and still breathing. And we'll go one more round. So last one to the front, finish off to the back. Keep that leg down behind you. Bend both legs. Press yourself up to seated, flexing both feet. The arm that you are laying on, right, that's the arm that's going to lift to the sky. All right, ease into the shoulders, feel the heart lift slightly. And then as you exhale, just take a small side bend. So let your head go with you. Take the top arm, roll it slightly forward. And from your hip all the way to your armpit to your shoulder, you should feel a nice stretch. Now that top arm, we're gonna lift it, take it down to the ground. Other arm follows, right? Hands are pretty wide, about shoulder distance or so. Yeah, nice. So you can stay here, maybe rounding into the spine a little bit like a cat. You can lower onto the forearms, breathing into this. Or you can be up on the hands, adding a little extension, or any combination of all of them, right? Just kind of see what that feels like in the spine, but adding a little bit of rotation to the upper spine and the middle spine. Yep. And just slowly start to make your way back through center. Nice. We'll come up to hands and knees, coming forward to the top edge of the mat, hands on the mat or on the floor. Set your shoulders. Lift up through your waistline, and again, step back into plank or front support. Feet and thighs come together. Right, waistline's in, so now we have the hips a little bit more active. Now we can stay here holding, right, completely still. Or as you exhale, you can tap your left leg off to the side. Pelvis stays completely still, and then bring that leg back in. And then right leg can tap off to the side, just the side of the mat, and bring it back in. Now, this can also be done from a quadruped position. So I can lengthen, reach, tap, bring it back, and bend in, right? So we do not have to be in plank for this. Good. So take about just 2 more each side. Keep thinking of widening through your upper back, right? Regardless of whether or not you're in a plank or on hands and knees. Once you finish your left side, let that be the last one. And then again, take down dog or child's pose, your choice. Out, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And just one more deep breath, in through nose, out through mouth. Good. And then make your way down onto your stomach. So all the way down we go. Elbows are going to be in line with the shoulders and about 90 degrees, so a goalpost. Legs as wide as you would like them for your lower back to feel comfortable. And nose about an inch off the ground to start. Anchor the pubic bone, lift your low stomach. Inhale, start to roll the shoulders back as you lift the head and the chest. Elbows are going to stay really heavy. There's this sense of those elbows pulling towards your feet. The heart pulling forward, so we're extending through the upper and the middle spine. As you exhale, lengthen and lower down. Let your shoulders relax at the bottom. And again, inhale, start to lift the head, the shoulders react. They start to draw down and in. Upper back, middle back starts to extend. Arms stay heavy, waistline stays lifted. Exhale down. Good. Just one more like this. Pubic bone heavy, a little bit of glute in the background for stability. Inhaling up. And exhaling it down. Now, if you'd like to add on, take your arms behind you, fingers towards your feet, palms face down on the floor. So somewhere off the side of your mat. Set your stomach. Inhale, set your shoulders and start to lengthen out so much that we peel up. Same movement in the upper and the middle back. Try to relax the knees the best you can. Anchor the pubic bone, find those deep glutes, find your low waistline, and then maybe hover the arms off the ground. And take a breath. On your next breath out, everything lowers. Relax through the shoulders. Again, set your stomach, start to peel up. Shoulders roll back, right? Get so long that the upper back, the middle back starts to lift. Maybe the arms lift, maybe the legs lift. If the legs have lifted, we're opening the front of the hips, Lower back really hasn't changed shape. Back of the glutes are on. Everything comes down. One more time, heavy legs. We inhale, start to lift the head. Shoulders start to draw in, slightly down. And then the arms can lift, the legs can lift. Now stay with the movement we were just doing or stay lifted. So all four limbs are lifted. And then as you exhale, we're going to take just the right arm to a T, or maybe the right arm comes forward, turning the palm to face in. Shoulder stays down. Inhale, bring that arm back. So it's reaching towards your feet. And then exhale, left arm can reach to a T, palm down, or it reaches forward, palm facing in. Inhale back. So it's a play off the classic swimming. But what I want you to feel is that as your arm transitions forward, your waistline is in, so your abs have to work a little harder. And your back extensors, especially your upper and your middle, have to work a little harder to keep you supported. Try to keep the waistline long, so as one arm goes forward, there's no side bending. One more each side. You feel the back of the shoulder working on this one as well. We'll end to the left. We'll bring that arm back and let everything lower down. Take the hands under the forehead, heavy head, bend the knees, and windshield wiper the feet from side to side. Allow your hips to move with you and let your shoulders just be easy. All right, and then lower the legs down, push back to child's pose. Knees together if you want a little bit more of a spine stretch. Knees open if you want more of a hip stretch. Take a full breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you exhale, roll yourself on up. Let your head come up last. And then we're going to come to the center line of the mat. So just make sure, right, if you're at your center, if you reach your arms out, you're not going to hit something or someone, right? And then, so at home, your right leg, right, my left leg is going to reach out long. And then I'm just going to lean a little bit away from that top leg, right? So essentially from your nose to your breastbone to your pubic bone, you're one long line. Now, the bottom leg, make sure the knee is under the hip. I'm really rooting into my bottom leg. And if I touch into my back glute, I want to feel that the back of the glutes are on. And there's this sense of lifting my pubic bone and dropping my tail, right? And if you lean out enough, it should really offload this top hip, right? So now, top hand is going to go to the underside of the ribs. And as I exhale, I'm going to lift my bottom arm rather, up towards my head. Inhale to lower, and then exhale, bottom arm lifts. Good. And as this arm lifts, I want you to feel that there's some movement under the armpit, under the shoulder blade. So the shoulder blade is widening and moving, but the shoulder itself is just gently staying out of the ear. All right, this top waistline should be working as well, so you can switch hands, bottom hand to the top of the ribs, and then exhale, top arm gets to lift up and over. Right? So similar movement, right? As this arm is getting further away from our body, your obliques, right? Your abs have to react to work, right? Everyone feeling this? Okay. Now make sure that there's really the sense of pubic bone lifting, tailbone dropping a little, so it's not just your lower back holding you here, but it is the side of the obliques. And if you really want to advance, right, both arms can go long. And as you exhale, both arms can reach overhead. So really similar to what we can do on the short box on a reformer. Inhaling down, exhaling to lift. Again, feeling right side of the waist. Okay? And these are just all ways to add on if you want to level up. Last one, whatever version you're playing with. Lower the arms. Now your bottom arm is going to come down to the ground. It's going to walk out a decent amount, right? And if it walks out further enough, eventually this top leg is just going to lift, right? Fairly easy, right? Ribs will draw in, low waistlines in, top arm to the sky, bottom shoulder out of the ear, top leg lifting, and we're just going to hold this. There's no movement, just hold, maybe close your eyes. And feel that every part of your body has to work here, right? It's all involved. The bottom glutes, the top leg that's lifting, the waistline, the shoulders. Take one more full breath. And then lower the top leg, right? Outer sole edge of the foot, really heavy, top arm overhead, and just take a nice side stretch. So I'm rooting into my bottom leg, my bottom arm, pressing the ribs to the sky. And then I'm just slowly gonna make my way into child's pose, coming to center. Arms anywhere you want them, right? They might stretch over to one side and then the other. They can always reach behind you. But wherever you're at, take a full breath. And then as you exhale, start to roll yourself up. Come back onto your knees, so opposite legs. So my right leg at home, it's your left. And you want to make sure as you start that your torso isn't completely upright. It can really kind of cramp out this upper hip area. So you want to lean out, really, so your body is one nice long diagonal line. Now your bottom leg is rooting down, waistline's in. Top hand can grab underneath this kind of armpit line. And then keeping the glutes on, the waistline on, as you exhale, that bottom arm can lift. First, I just want you to feel that this shoulder blade has to widen and drop around your ribs. Inhale to lower. And you need that shoulder blade movement. Exhaling to lift, inhaling to lower. Make sure the head isn't too far forward, right? It's back in line with the rest of the body. I'm still rooting into my bottom leg. And then you can switch bottom hand to the top of the ribs. Exhale, top arm goes overhead. And this is really where I want you to feel that the side of your ribs, the base of your ribs is doing some work. And then lean out just a little bit, Eva, away from that right leg. Yep, there you go. Waistline's in, neck is long. Yep. Couple more. Use your breath. And then if you really want to add on both arms, right, they can exhale, lifting overhead, lots of waistline. Inhale to lower. Again, bottom leg rooting down, exhaling to lift. Inhale to lower. All right, last two, whatever version you're working with today. All right, last one. And then the arms lower, bottom arm to the ground. Now walk it a pretty good amount away from you to the point where this top leg just starts to lift a little bit. Yeah, about hip height or so. Top foot is pointed. Bottom shoulder gently rolls out of the air, waistline lifted. Top arm to the sky. And just hold, maybe close your eyes and feel every part of the body's working. So the underside of the waistline, the rib line, both sides of the glutes. Ease the shoulders out of the ears. Take one more full breath. Lower that top leg, outer sole of the foot is on the ground, top arm overhead. Let the head be heavy, press the ribs to the sky until you start to feel a side stretch. Yeah, yep. Take an inhale. Exhale everything forward into child's pose. Again, arms anywhere you want them. Take an inhale. Exhale, roll yourself up. We're gonna come up to standing. So any way you wanna get there, but just coming up to standing. Now, if you wanna challenge your balance, stay on your mat, especially if it's kind of squishy. Less challenge, come on to the side of your mat. You can use a wall for balance, a countertop, or a chair. But you're gonna start with your feet about inner hip bone distance apart, and you're gonna track that inner hip bone line down to about the center of your knee and your second toe. Right, so about 2 fist distance or so. Now, hands on the hips, you're gonna fan your fingers out into the side of your butt, kind of where you were feeling your side leg series. And as you exhale, I want you to bend your right leg without too much movement in the pelvis. So what you wanna avoid is this big shift in your spine or this big kind of drop in the hip and a kind of push over. But the leg you're balancing on, if you feel those outer glutes, right, do you feel some tone there? And then set your right foot down, right? A little bit of waistline, right? And if you feel into that right glute line, when you bend your left leg, right, do you feel some glutes? Now, is there gonna be a little bit of movement? Sure, right? We're just avoiding any big kind of dramatic shift. Just one more each side. So dropping down, right? A leg bends, And is it more than your glutes supporting you here? Definitely. But this is going to really relate us to our side series that we felt, right, when we were lying on our side and when we were kneeling. And just one more, 1 foot to the ground, opposite leg bends. All right, just breathe in, easy in the shoulders. All right, now if you want to add on, I'm going to turn so you can see my profile. Waistline's in like we were doing a plank. Knees are just a little bit bent. My right leg is going to bend. And I'm going to take my fingertips into my left hip joint and I'm going to hinge. So as I hinge, I'm thinking of my tailbone lifting, my pelvis and my torso leaning forward. Now, it doesn't matter how far, right? Keep the waistline in. Push into that standing leg and feel more of the center of the glute line and your hamstrings bringing you back to center. So as I inhale, my hamstrings are working, they're lengthening, my glutes are working while they lengthen. My back leg can reach behind you a little. And then as I exhale, I'm coming up. Your torso is essentially holding that plank. So your full kind of three-dimensional powerhouse is working, right? And just one more. So hinging, try to relax through your toes the best you can. Exhaling up and then switching, right? So my right foot is heavy, my legs straight but not locked, my left leg bends. And my hips are square, I'm hinging through my right hip joint, leaning a bit forward, and it might be just to here, right? It doesn't have to be very far. And then I'm coming back up, right? Pelvis drops down, glutes, hamstrings, all the rest bring me up. So inhaling to tip. Yeah. Again, you might hold on to a wall, exhaling to come up. So this is our hip extension, just from a standing position. One more time, inhaling to hinge. Try to relax your toes the best you can. Keep the waistline lifting. Exhale it up. Both feet to the ground, shake out the arms a little bit, shake out the legs. And then feet about hip distance, shoulders can roll back and open. Take an inhale, get a little taller. Exhale, nod your chin, and very slowly start to roll down, right? We do this at the end of every class pretty much. So really just take your time, notice how things feel towards the end of the hour. Knees a bit bent just so they're not locked, heavy head. All right, take a big breath in, and as you exhale, get a little bit heavier. And one more like that, big inhale, let the ribs expand. Exhale, let your body get a little heavier. And then on your next breath, keep that sense of weight in your arms and your head, slowly start to roll up. Allow your head to come up last, so you're not using your neck to bring you up, but you're bringing yourself up through your core. And we will end you there today. Thanks for joining. Nicely done. All right, I'm just gonna hit stop. We can spray off all the props, and that's all she wrote.